Hey guys, it's Leo, and this week we have a new magical girl show. MAHOU SHOUJO site has just started airing. It's gonna be a 12 episode series, and I really want to follow it through and through every week, doing my impressions, because this show seems to be very interesting. The story's tough, it's not for the weak-hearted, and I felt really bad after watching the first episode, but I'm curious. I have this morbid curiosity and I'm gonna keep watching it. Anyways, before talking about the episode itself, I want to talk about the opening and the ending. First, the opening, I liked the song, but I didn't really like the images. I felt like they could have done so many things and they went the safe route. And I don't know, there were some images in the opening that we've already seen in the trailers and they seem to be like parts of episodes. And it felt rushed. It felt a rushed opening. But the ending's very interesting. We don't have many images in the ending, but we do have some live action sections in the ending. That was kind of nice, and it's nice because the girls that appear, they don't really show their faces. It seems like they're hiding their faces all the time, and that felt also very interesting and kind of mysterious. And the ending song is superb. I loved the ending song. And now talking about the episode itself, I just want to say that I have read the 3 or 4 chapters of the manga, so I knew what was waiting for me, but still I felt destroyed after watching the first episode. In MAHOU SHOUJO site, we follow the story of Asagiri Aya, a girl that's depressed and because of all the horrors that she suffers through her life, she feels like the only way out is death. And there was a very impactful scene in right at one of the first moments. We've seen that in the trailers, but in the episode itself, it felt very strong. Which was one scene in which the train was coming and she almost jumped, she almost got in front of the train. Something held her back right before it, and she just fell on the ground, powerless. And it was interesting because one of the comments were, oh, do we have to deal right first thing in the morning? So, people weren't even looking at her. They weren't paying attention. They weren't caring about someone who was right on the road to killing herself. And, I feel like ignoring problems is one of the themes of MAHOU SHOUJO site. Because one of the things Aya suffers is bullying. And the bullying that she goes through is very visible because the girls are very violent. And they bully her through the whole morning and no one does anything. And it's not something that you can say, well, people don't see it or people don't care. I mean, the bullying that she goes through is very violent. It's brutal. And I think that this show is way over the top and it does lots of things to shock. And it's a narrative choice to create the idea of Aya's character being worthless and having very low self-esteem. So they go through very high points to show that and to create situations in which to create extreme situations that she has to go through. But I feel like they're very over the top, so they are not very believable. They feel, I don't even know, I feel like they're not believable enough, but even though they feel very exaggerated, the way they did in the show with the soundtrack and the voice actor, Aya's voice actor, it felt very hard to watch. It felt very hard to watch. And together with the bullying, she also suffers violence at home from her brother. Her brother uses her violently to relieve his stress. So he punches her, and he's just an abusive brother. He physically abuses her, by punching her and by strangling her. And again, very over the top. Doesn't feel very believable since they're in a house and no one hears her scream. I don't know. It doesn't really feel believable. But as I said, it seems that the running thing in this show is that we have heartless people and people that don't care. So we have a family that don't pay attention to Aya, because if they did pay attention to her, they would notice this kind of thing. And we have a classroom that doesn't pay attention. We have a teacher who doesn't pay attention. We have a society who doesn't pay attention. So this is something that creates the whole atmosphere of loneliness and abandonment. The only thing that makes Aya happy is a stray cat that she takes care of. She gives the cat a name, she gives the cat a collar, but obviously this is used against her in this first episode. As you guys have seen, this was a very disastrous incident, and because of what she was going through, a website appeared for her, MAHOU SHOUJO site, and that was one of the most interesting points of this episode. That person in the MAHOU SHOUJO site is really bizarre. Really, really, really bizarre. And I'm like, what is going on? And I love that person's voice. I love it. It adds to the bizarreness. I love it. And so a weapon was offered to her, but she didn't have a choice. The weapon was sent to her, and that weapon is a gun, and it's called a stick. It seems that all magical girls in this show have a stick, but they all have different ones. We can see lots of sticks in the opening, and it seems that they're very different in style. I don't know, but it seems that one of them have panties as a stick. Okay. Going on. I even lost what I was going to say. Anyway, Aya received it, and she was again a victim of another violence, and this time she was able to fight back a little bit, because it's a running thing in the show. She doesn't really fight back, because it feels to me that her self-esteem is so low. She was destroyed in such a point that she doesn't believe that she is worth anything, and so she doesn't even fight back anymore. But even though she feels like it, it's still very hard, very, very hard to watch. And then we have a new situation. She runs and she was able to escape, but then she's captured, and then she uses her weapon because it's the only thing left for her. She doesn't even know if it's true or not, but it ended up working, and it ended up creating a very, very deathly situation. I loved it. I'm gonna be honest here, I loved seeing those people dead. And I want to see the other ones dead too, especially her brother. And I loved it. I loved it. That's what they deserved. I'm sorry. I don't like to be this kind of person, but they deserved it. They deserved it. I don't feel bad for them at all. And I don't feel bad for the other girls too. The girls. Because then we had another situation, and one of the girls, she was almost cutting Aya, and then we had a new magical girl appearing, and she used her power as well. Her power is to stop time. She's very powerful, and her stick, I don't even remember if the stick appeared in this episode, but her stick is a cell phone. I remember that from the official website. Her stick is a cell phone, and she's able to stop time, and she was able to even cut one of the girls. I loved that so much. That felt so good. That felt good. And it seems that another theme in this series is that Aya is going to find a friend. She's finally gonna find a friend, which is this other magical girl, and it seems that they're gonna connect because of their powers and because of the situation they're in. And this girl has been watching Aya throughout the whole episode, and I liked seeing that because, you know, someone's paying attention to Aya, and I don't believe that this girl wants to do something bad to her. But the ending part of the episode, she told Aya, I need you, or we need you. And so there is something going on there. Aya girl, you are a person with lots of misfortunes in your life. So please be careful in what you're gonna do. Please be careful. Anyways, I think that's all I wanted to say, and I want to say it again. This show is very over the top. It goes way too long to, you know, shock you. It goes out of its way to shock. And I feel like when I was reading the manga, it was tough reading the manga. but it's even tougher watching the anime. And I feel like when you're reading the manga, when there are hard scenes, you just go through them. You just understand what's going on and you just jump to the next scene. But when you're watching the anime, you can't do that. I mean, you follow the rhythm of the anime, and that's very hard. That was especially hard for Mahou Shoujo site. And I feel like bad things are not gonna stop happening, but now I hope Aya is able to fight back. I feel like I still miss the glamorous part of a magical girl in this show. I still miss it. Maybe I feel like when she used the weapon, she could change her costume, have a special something, but there's nothing like that. They just use weapons. And so I feel like one of the greatest aspects of the Magical Girls is lost in this show, but it's still a Magical Girls show and I want to watch it and I want to accompany it until the end. And so we have 12 episodes so that we can suffer together with these girls. I liked the first episode even though there are those bad points. It's very over the top. It goes out of its way to shock you. I feel like it has a little bit of torture porn, and because they focus too much on the tortures Aya goes through. I don't know. I feel like there are bad points, but I'm enthralled to this story. I want to follow this story. And I want to hear from you. Please leave a comment. What did you think about this brutal first episode of Mahou Shoujo site? Please leave a comment. Please subscribe to the channel and let's talk about Magical Girls and anime in general. Guys, thank you so much for watching and until next time, bye bye!